Good morning, everyone, and welcome. I'm delighted to be here with you today. My name is Dr. S.K. Singh, and I hold a PhD in this field. Today, we will be discussing global regulatory updates in the realm of pharmaceutical and API manufacturing. Over the course of this presentation, we'll explore the latest developments, policies, and trends shaping the industry worldwide. I look forward to sharing insights and engaging with you all. Let's get started. Let's take a look at the global regulatory landscape. As you can see, there's been a significant move towards increased harmonization across key regulatory bodies like the FDA, EMA, ICH, and WHO. This means that these organizations are working more closely together to align their standards and expectations, which helps streamline processes and reduce duplication. Another important shift is the focus from just the product itself to also emphasizing process and lifecycle control. It's no longer enough to just approve a product. Regulators want to see robust controls throughout the entire lifecycle and manufacturing process to ensure ongoing quality and compliance. Additionally, we are witnessing a rise in global inspections and remote audits. This trend reflects the need for continuous oversight, especially as operations become more complex and geographically dispersed. Remote audits, in particular, are becoming more common, allowing regulators to evaluate compliance without necessarily being on site, which adds a new layer of flexibility and oversight. All these changes underscore the importance of a proactive, comprehensive approach to regulatory compliance that aligns with the evolving global standards and expectations. Let's take a closer look at some of the key regulatory themes that are shaping our industry today. First, data integrity and digital compliance are absolutely critical. Ensuring the accuracy, consistency, and reliability of data is fundamental to meeting regulatory standards and maintaining trust. Moving on, AI and automation governance is becoming increasingly important as we adopt more advanced technologies. We need clear frameworks to oversee how these tools are used, to ensure they support compliance and quality. Next, continuous manufacturing is transforming how we produce medicines by enabling real-time quality control and more efficient processes. It's all about making manufacturing more flexible and responsive. Then, lifecycle management, especially concerning post-approval changes, is vital. Managing changes after a product is on the market requires careful oversight to keep compliance intact while allowing for innovation. Finally, supply chain security is a key focus. Ensuring that every step of the supply chain is secure and transparent helps prevent disruptions and safeguards product integrity. All these themes are interconnected, and they reflect our overall goal of advancing innovative, compliant, and safe healthcare solutions. Now, let's take a look at AI and digital systems regulation. Regulatory bodies around the world are actively working on introducing governance frameworks for AI. These frameworks aim to ensure that AI systems are developed and used responsibly. One of the key requirements is algorithm transparency. It's crucial that organizations can explain how their algorithms make decisions, which helps in building trust and accountability. Along with that, model validation and lifecycle control are essential. This means continuously checking and managing AI models throughout their lifespan to ensure they perform correctly and safely. Another important aspect is maintaining audit trails for AI decisions. Keeping detailed records allows us to trace how decisions were made, which is vital for compliance and addressing any issues that might arise. These requirements are often aligned with existing GXP guidelines, especially in regulated industries like pharmaceuticals and healthcare. For example, when AI is used in deviation management or CAPA processes, it must be validated just like traditional software systems. This ensures that AI-driven decisions are reliable and compliant with industry standards. So, in essence, these regulatory efforts are about integrating AI into our systems in a way that's transparent, validated, and accountable, ultimately supporting safer and more effective digital systems. Let's take a look at why these points are so critical across various areas. First, in QC labs and batch manufacturing records, maintaining data integrity is absolutely essential. It ensures that the data we rely on for quality decisions is trustworthy and accurate. Reinforcing the ALCOA plus principles, attributable, legible, contemporaneous, original, and accurate, is fundamental here. These principles help us uphold the integrity of our data throughout the entire process. Now, extending controls such as metadata review and audit trail review. These are mandatory steps to ensure completeness and traceability of data. They give us an extra layer of oversight, making sure nothing is overlooked or altered improperly. From a regulatory perspective, real-time data monitoring is increasingly expected. Regulators want us to be able to observe and verify data as it's generated, not just after the fact. This approach supports proactive quality management and helps us catch issues early, aligning with the overall goal of ensuring product quality and compliance. So, in essence, these practices and principles are all about safeguarding data integrity and meeting regulatory expectations in a fast-paced, complex environment. Now, let's take a look at the GMP updates for pharma manufacturing, specifically focusing on the strengthening of the EU GMP Annex 1. These changes are quite significant for our sterile and aseptic processing facilities. First, there's now a mandatory requirement for a contamination control strategy, or CCS. This means that manufacturers need to have a comprehensive plan in place to prevent contamination, which is critical for ensuring product quality and patient safety. Next, you'll notice that cleanroom monitoring has become stricter. This involves more rigorous and frequent checks to ensure that environmental conditions remain within specified limits, reducing the risk of contamination. Finally, personnel qualification requirements have been expanded. This emphasizes the importance of properly trained and qualified staff, which is fundamental for maintaining the integrity of sterile environments. Overall, these updates aim to strengthen our control over contamination risks and improve the overall quality of sterile and aseptic manufacturing processes. Let's take a closer look at API manufacturing regulations. These regulations are now more closely aligned with the ICH Q7 guidelines, which set the standards for good manufacturing practices for active pharmaceutical ingredients. One of the new expectations is the need for greater traceability of raw materials, so manufacturers can track each ingredient back to its origin. This helps ensure quality and accountability throughout the supply chain. Another important aspect is the control of starting materials, which is now more risk-based. This means companies need to assess and manage risks associated with raw materials more proactively, rather than relying solely on traditional quality checks. Supplier qualification is also tightening, requiring more rigorous assessments before approving suppliers. This helps minimize potential vulnerabilities in the supply chain. Additionally, there's been an increase in inspections at API manufacturing sites, especially in regions like India and China. This focus aims to ensure compliance with these evolving standards and improve overall quality assurance. All these points tie back to our overall theme of strengthening regulatory oversight and enhancing product safety in the pharmaceutical industry. Let's take a look at Slide 8, which focuses on lifecycle management and post-approval changes. First, you'll notice that updates are now aligned with ICH Q12, which provides a more structured approach to managing changes throughout a product's lifecycle. This alignment helps ensure consistent regulatory expectations across different regions. One of the major regulatory shifts we're seeing is a move towards faster approval processes for low-risk changes. This means that if a change is considered low risk, companies can implement it more quickly without going through lengthy approval procedures, which ultimately helps keep products on the market more efficiently. The slide also highlights defined reporting categories, which are prior approval and notification. These categories help determine how a change should be reported to regulatory authorities based on its risk level and impact. Prior approval requires approval before implementation, whereas notification involves informing regulators after the change is made. A key concept here is the emphasis on established conditions, or ECs. These are the conditions that, once set, form the foundation of your product's approved manufacturing process. Managing ECs effectively is crucial because changes to them often require careful assessment and appropriate reporting. This approach underscores the importance of understanding and maintaining control over your product's life cycle, aligning with the overall theme of continuous assurance and compliance throughout the product's life. Let's take a closer look at process validation and continued verification. The life cycle approach here is really the foundation. It starts with stage 1, which is process design. In this stage, we develop and understand how the process should work to produce quality products consistently. Next, we move to stage 2, process qualification, where we validate that the process performs as intended under real manufacturing conditions. And finally, stage 3 is continued process verification, or CPV, where we continuously monitor and verify the process over time to ensure it remains in control. What's really important is that this approach is reinforced throughout the product lifecycle, ensuring ongoing quality. We're also seeing an increased use of advanced statistical tools and real-time monitoring techniques. These tools allow us to gather data more efficiently and respond quickly to any deviations. This entire process has a strong link to quality by design, or QBD. By designing processes thoughtfully from the start and continuously verifying them, we embed quality into the process rather than just testing for it at the end. This proactive approach helps us achieve consistent, high-quality products and supports regulatory compliance and patient safety. Let's talk about digitalization and Pharma 4. As the industry evolves, regulatory acceptance of key technologies becomes crucial. First, electronic batch records, or EBR, are now widely accepted. They help ensure accuracy, traceability, and compliance by digitizing batch documentation. Similarly, manufacturing execution systems, or MES, play a vital role in managing manufacturing processes more efficiently and transparently. Looking ahead, there are important expectations around cybersecurity compliance. As we digitalize, safeguarding data and systems from cyber threats is essential. Equally important are data governance frameworks, which ensure that data is accurate, consistent, and properly managed across the entire production lifecycle. All of these elements are paving the way for integration with smart factories. By combining these technologies and standards, we can create more connected, flexible, and efficient manufacturing environments. This not only enhances compliance and quality, but also drives innovation in Pharma 4. Now, let's take a closer look at supply chain and serialization. Globally, there's a strong push for the enforcement of track and trace systems. These systems are designed to monitor and verify the movement of pharmaceutical products through the supply chain, helping to prevent counterfeits and ensure safety. One key regulation to be aware of is the Drug Supply Chain Security Act, or DSCSA, which sets standards for product serialization and traceability. This legislation is critical because it helps create a more transparent and secure supply chain. The main focus here is anti-counterfeiting. Counterfeit drugs pose serious risks to patients, and serialization plays a vital role in combating that threat. Additionally, there's growing interest in exploring blockchain technology. Blockchain offers promising potential for enhancing transparency, security, and trust across the entire supply chain. All these efforts, from regulations to new technologies, are interconnected and support our overarching goal of safeguarding medicines and protecting patients worldwide. Today, I want to talk about sustainability and green GMP, which are becoming increasingly important in our industry. We're seeing a clear regulatory push toward adopting more sustainable practices. For example, green chemistry is gaining traction, encouraging us to develop processes that are environmentally friendly and safer for people. Waste reduction is also a key focus, helping us minimize our environmental footprint and improve efficiency. Additionally, energy-efficient manufacturing practices are being prioritized to lower energy consumption and reduce costs. Another critical point is that ESG, or environmental, social, and governance factors, are now part of compliance audits. This means that sustainability isn't just a nice-to-have anymore. It's becoming a core part of how we measure and ensure compliance. These trends are not isolated. They connect to the broader theme of transforming our industry to be more responsible and sustainable. Embracing these changes can help us stay ahead, meet regulatory expectations, and contribute positively to our environment and society. Let's take a look at some current inspection trends. One key development is the shift towards hybrid inspections, combining both remote and on-site assessments. This approach offers greater flexibility and efficiency, allowing inspectors to gather information from a distance while still conducting in-person evaluations when necessary. Another important trend is the focus on data-driven audits. These audits rely heavily on audit trails and electronic systems to track and verify processes. This shift emphasizes the importance of digital documentation, making information more accessible, accurate, and easier to review. There's also increased scrutiny around issues like data manipulation and out-of-specification handling. Regulators and auditors are paying closer attention to ensure that data integrity is maintained and that any out-of-spec situations are properly documented and managed. A critical point to remember is that, in today's environment, if it's not documented digitally, it essentially didn't happen. This underscores the importance of having robust electronic systems in place, not just for compliance, but for transparency and accountability across the entire process. Overall, these trends reflect a broader move toward digitalization and enhanced oversight, helping us ensure better compliance and more efficient inspections. Let's talk about the industry impact and how it's evolving. We're seeing a clear shift toward digital, automated, and risk-based compliance. This means that companies are increasingly leveraging technology to streamline processes, reduce manual errors, and focus on the most critical risks. It's about being smarter and more agile in meeting regulatory requirements. Now, to succeed in this new landscape, there are several key factors to keep in mind. First, a strong quality management system, or QMS, is essential. It provides the foundation for consistent quality and compliance across operations. Second, fostering a culture of data integrity is crucial, ensuring that data is accurate, reliable, and secure. Without data integrity, the entire compliance framework can be compromised. And third, staying aware of regulatory changes is vital. Being proactive rather than reactive helps companies adapt quickly and stay ahead. Putting it all together, a future-ready pharmaceutical industry is one that combines digital technologies, maintains compliance rigor, and operates transparently. This integrated approach not only meets current demands, but also positions companies to thrive in the evolving landscape. Let's take a closer look at some common compliance risks that organizations face. First, data integrity failures are a critical concern, because if the data isn't accurate or trustworthy, it can lead to serious compliance issues and impact decision-making. Next, inadequate deviation investigations often mean that when problems occur, they aren't thoroughly analyzed or resolved, which can allow issues to persist or recur. Poor supplier qualification is another risk. If suppliers aren't properly vetted, it increases the chances of receiving substandard materials or services that could compromise quality. Weak contamination control is also a major concern, especially in industries like pharmaceuticals, where even tiny lapses can lead to contamination and pose safety risks. Lastly, a lack of AI validation is increasingly relevant. As we incorporate artificial intelligence into our processes, ensuring that these systems are properly validated and reliable is essential to maintain compliance and trust. Recognizing and addressing these risks is vital as we work towards building a robust compliance framework that supports overall quality and safety. For further support, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're here to help with any questions or additional information you might need. Thank you so much for your time and attention today. I appreciate your engagement and interest in this topic. Remember, We're committed to supporting you beyond this presentation, so feel free to contact us whenever you need assistance. Thanks again, and have a great day.